Today, the Vietnamese Community in Australia Victorian chapter organised an event in Melbourne's CBD to raise awareness around the massive fish deaths which occurred in Vietnam earlier this year. The event, called Vietnamese Environment Day, was held at Federation Square from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. It included family-friendly activities such as the drawing and colouring of fishes, a music concert with both Vietnamese and English performances, and a vigil to commemorate the injustice and hurt experienced by those affected. Cammy Lu, who is a member of the Victorian chapter of the Vietnamese Community in Australia, helped to MC the event. She says there's a special reason as to why the association chose to hold the Vietnamese Environment Day at Federation Square.
So the reason why we're holding the Environmental Day today in Melbourne, which seemingly has nothing to do with Vietnam, is because we would like the Vietnamese community here to band together to support the Vietnamese in Vietnam, but also the other side of it is to raise awareness about the issue for Australians and to let them know that this is not a single issue that affects only the people of Vietnam in Vietnam, but also Australians and people of the world as well.
Dead fish and other marine life began washing up on Vietnam's central coast in April. After weeks of clouding, Vietnam's communist government laid the blame on a subsidiary of Taiwan's steel plant Formosa Plastics for dumping toxic waste that caused the mass fish deaths and decimated the local seafood industry. Formosa Harton Steel has admitted that it was responsible for the environmental disaster and has also pledged to pay $500 million in compensation. Vice President of VCA's Victorian chapter, Phong Nguyen, says he has not been able to contact officials in Vietnam about the case.
They wouldn't talk to us. In fact, they deny the situation in Vietnam is that serious. And in fact, the reality in Vietnam is totally different. And that's why we want to be the voice of the people who have no voice in Vietnam today. And no compensation, no remedial works, nothing has been done since April until now.
But Bernie Finn, member for the Western Metropolitan Region in the Victorian Parliament, says he believes Vietnamese officials are aware of public events like today.
I think that you'll find that the Vietnamese government are very aware of what's happening in Australia, and whenever the Vietnamese community gathers, whenever we all gather together on this subject or any other, they are most certainly taking notice. So these sorts of gatherings are very, very important to get the message to other Australians, but also to the Vietnamese government. There's a lot of people around the world that are very, very upset.
Singers Hill Huân and Donna Tran Walker say they hope the issue can be resolved quickly.
You know, ultimately we want Vietnam to be preserved for the future generations, and especially us, you know, so that we can come back and connect to our roots and see our beautiful motherland. So hopefully they can find a solution, and hopefully they can also look towards the future for the younger generations.
You know, we all want the best for our children and the future, and there's a lot of things going on in Vietnam that, you know, are out of our control, but this is what we want for the young generation of Vietnam, and we're hoping for the best for them as well. You know, what we have over here, we want the best for people in Vietnam as well.
VCA's Victorian chapter Vice President Phong Nguyen has also urged the Australian government to ensure the import of fish from Vietnam is safe for consumers.
I think it's important that we raise the awareness among our governments in Australia, in Victoria, and our national governments to do something, at least to check and make sure that contaminated food, dangerous food, that including toxic chemicals like cyanide and phenol, to be imported in Australia. And that is what we believe that Australian government should do.